But we begin with the political meltdown in Maine that could have an impact on the control of the U.S. Senate. Democrat Graham Platner says he is dropping out of the state Senate race, and it follows allegations of rape and physical abuse, which he denies.
We are suspending campaign operations. This is incredibly difficult because I know that some will think it's an admission of guilt, and it most certainly is not. We're not doing it because of the allegations. We're doing it because of the structures that are being taken away from us by those in power.
CBS News political reporter Zak Hudak joins us right now. Zak, thank you for your time. So what happens from here?
Mugo, there are a couple things that need to happen. We still need Graham Platner to actually officially withdraw from the race. He needs to submit paperwork to do that. So we are watching closely, waiting for that. He obviously has indicated that that's his next step, but that has not officially happened. So that still has to happen before we can move forward. Then we found out yesterday the plan from the state party is to hold a nominating convention. At that convention, it would not just be an election of the voters or of the Democratic voters of the state. Rather, what it'll be is about 600 delegates will be there, and they will hold an election. There's still not a lot we know about how that will be conducted. I think that's still being figured out. We still need to know what the parameters of the voting will be. Will it be a simple majority wins, or do you have to hit certain voting thresholds? And if you don't, they cut the lowest voting candidates and move on to another ballot. We still don't know exactly how you get your name into the mix for that vote among delegates. Will it be a question of how many signatures you get in a period of time, or what? We don't know that yet, and we don't know when this convention will be held. However, we do know it will have to be before the end of the month when those ballots begin to be printed and are made official. So there's a lot of questions we're waiting for, but basically what we know is this will be decided by the state party delegates.
And in the meantime, what are we hearing from Republicans in the state? Do they see this as a win for incumbent Susan Collins?
I think it's notable that Susan Collins has not weighed in. She is, I think, being politically smart here and allowing Democrats to kind of bask in their own candidate's scandal as long as possible. Looking at how this affects her chances, I think there's two schools of thinking on this. One is that Graham Platner was already a pretty damaged candidate, and had he moved forward, had this not come out when it did, this would have been potentially a nail in the coffin that Susan Collins' campaign could have brought out late in the general election and easily won the race. On the flip side of that, Graham Platner mobilized volunteers in a way that really hasn't been seen in Maine politics. So there was a grassroots movement that's going to be difficult, I think, for Democrats to continue the momentum of when the guy leading the charge is now out of the mix. So I think there's two ways of thinking about it, and it's really hard to tell at this stage what the outcome will be. But Susan Collins is being politically savvy and staying quiet.
So just based on everything you've said there, let's talk about the bigger picture. What is the potential impact in Congress if Democrats fail to pick up this particular Senate seat?
Well, Mugo, Democrats are down by 3 seats in the Senate right now. So for them to control the Senate, they would have to win 4 or more likely win 3 and then win the presidency in 2028, giving them that tie-breaking vice presidential vote. There are not a lot of opportunities for them. In this particular midterm cycle, there's this race, and then there's also a North Carolina Senate seat that is Tom Tillis's. He's retiring. That's a seat that's been held by a Republican for a long time. So this is the best chance Democrats have to work toward those 3 seats that they really need to gain over the next 2 cycles. And if this is out of the mix, it puts a lot more weight on them for 2028 when they have to focus on Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and on another seat in North Carolina if they have any hope of changing the balance of power in Congress.
Yeah, things are looking quite chaotic right now when it comes to that seat in Maine. Zak Hudak, thank you so much for your time today. Appreciate it.